What's going on, everyone? Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. I'm trying out this new microphone. What's happening? What's happening?
What's going on?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I can't hear you at all, son.
you can't hear me at all.
You know
I don't
what?
know
Hold on
why.
one second. All right, what about now? Smalls, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can barely hear you though.
Oh,
No, I think it's me on my end.
what about now? Is it louder?
Oh, you're a little louder.
A little louder? I can talk a little louder, but
No. I don't want you screaming, son. You know what
I
I'm saying?
know, I know, I know.
Yeah, but I can barely hear you, but it's all good. As long as you can hear me just fine, as long as we coming through the broadcast just fine, we all good. You know what I'm saying? And if you gotta talk a
Okay,
little louder, then talk a little louder, son.
okay.
But the reason why I wanted to come on here and talk to you, Smalls, was about culture, right?
Yes.
And I'm talking culture when you're traveling. So it's a two-part meaning when I say culture. There is a restaurant in Bangkok, Thailand, and I
Called
think it's in
culture.
Pattaya as well. You know where I'm
Yeah.
going with this, right?
It's called culture.
Huh?
It's called culture.
It's
Yeah.
called culture. That's what I'm talking about. And
Uh-huh.
you know, in this restaurant, they're serving French toast, oxtails, grits, the whole nine, all that stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which brought me to this question that I had to ask, and I had to bring you in here to ask you, right? And that's why I was saying it's called culture. And I didn't want to spoil it for you. You know what I mean? So my question is, don't get me wrong, I love grits. I love French toast. But when I'm traveling, especially somewhere like Southeast Asia, right? The whole experience of traveling is what? Culture.
Right.
I don't mean the restaurant culture. I mean the culture. Like, what are these people doing over here, right? So, although I get it that my guy established this restaurant is supposed to be booming because I know it's been all over social media and it's popping and all of that, and it's called culture. But that brought me to this question about actual culture when you're traveling. When you're traveling, do you want to go somewhere and get the same stuff you can get home? Because often you hear people talk about, man, if I'm traveling, I'm not going to stop at a McDonald's in Rome because I can get that at home. I'm trying to eat food that they got in Rome or whatever the case may be, right? So isn't this kind of along the same lines of if I'm traveling to Bangkok, why do I want French toast? Why do I want grits? Why do I want oxtails? So you see
But
where I'm going with this? So what's your
yeah,
thought?
well, as somebody that has lived overseas and has lived in Bangkok, it can be easy to not be used to the food that they're used to eating. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So sometimes if you're hungry, you don't want to take a chance on not finding something you're going to like. So you get what you're comfortable with. But I understand why people don't want to eat the same things when they're at home. I actually enjoy going to McDonald's in other countries because the food is different. It tastes the same, quote unquote, but they have
Right.
different things. So I get trying the food of the culture where you're in, but I also can understand why somebody would want to eat something familiar.
Right, right. I get it. But again, like I said, that just brings me to the, like, for example, if I go to Beijing, part of me is going to people watch as well, too. You know, I want to see how these cats are living over there. I want to see how folks going to work. I want to see what they're doing in their off time and all that stuff like that. But I get what you said about the food aspect. But I also want to kind of be immersed in the culture and I want to try what they're eating as well, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be trying dog. I'm not going to be trying guinea pig and all of that, right? But I'm also not going to be looking for McDonald's. I'm not going to be looking for Cheesecake Factory either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I want to experience their culture. And I do believe that you can experience people's culture without getting sick. Like, for example, India. I've been there a number of times, like some of the food in India. This is no slight to anybody of Indian descent but I will absolutely not try your street food in India. I just will not.
Yep.
Because I've seen it prepared. Like I've got videos where I'm standing there watching these cats make food, make drinks, and all of that. And no, I wouldn't do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And again,
I
I'm not, no
understand.
knock to the people that do it. Have at it. But I just wouldn't do that. But that is part of the culture. Going and potentially trying some of the stuff. So again, I get your point about, hey, I still may want some of that creature comfort food, right? But again,
Right.
I wouldn't go to Southeast Asia looking for French toast or
Well,
looking for grits. You know what I'm saying?
I just got back from China, and the most daring food I ate was hot pot on a food tour because I wasn't comfortable walking up to a place. I can't read the menu. I don't know what it is, and ordering something, and it's not what I'm expecting it to be in a bad way. It's not
Right.
like, ooh, I ordered this and it was great. I don't even know what it was. I don't want no dog either. You know what I'm saying? I don't want any surprises like that.
Right.
So if I'm with somebody, I'm on a food tour and somebody's explaining what it is, house prepared, then I'm a lot more adventurous when it comes to eating that way. But just on my own, I'm sorry, I will take an L and go somewhere I'm familiar with.
So you take a L and go somewhere else, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. But like I said, that's what it was. I just kind of wanted to find out from you, culture wise, because again, I know everyone has their own thing, and again, for me, and this is not indicative to say, hey, you need to travel like I travel. Travel how you want to travel. I just thought it was interesting that this restaurant is really blowing up. People are really going over there. People are really saying it's good. But then you have to also look at the other aspect, and I think you're perfect for this because you did live in Bangkok, and I can only imagine what those prices are. And then the question then becomes, can the real Bangkok residents really afford that oxtail? Can they really afford that French toast and stuff like that? And in your opinion, since you live there, do you think folks in Bangkok are going over there to tear it down? Like they're going to get that French toast, they're going to get their grits on the regular and all of that.
I don't think regular Thai people are going to eat that stuff. I think they have a purely, I don't know, I can't speak, I've not been there yet, but I don't think I cannot say their target market is the everyday Thai person. They just don't make that kind of money, and I know that food is not cheap. They don't have the palate for it. Because when I was in Vietnam and I was on a motorcycle tour, I tried to get my driver to come eat some Italian food. He was like, "No, I don't like that," and he had never even had it. He just knew he didn't
Right.
want it. So I don't even think their taste buds are interested in some of those things. There might be some adventurous few, but for the most part, that's for. I don't think that's the target audience.
I got you. I got you. Yeah. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Like I said, just culture. And I thought that was a good wordplay because I literally just saw some stuff about that online. And I'm probably actually going to talk about that too, like in another post and all of that stuff like that, um, as like one of the travel tips. But then again, just to kind of put it out there and spark some conversation. Because like I said, I thought that was pretty slick. You named the culture. That was cool. But it got me thinking about, well, when I go places, the culture I want to experience is their culture. I'm not necessarily saying I'm not happy to see us traveling. I absolutely love that because I'm all for black travel. I'm all for us getting out. However, and I use that loosely. However, when I go certain places, I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how they look. Like say I go to Bangkok, I want to see what it is in Bangkok. I want to see what it is outside of Bangkok. And I understand that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bunch of us. I want to see a bunch of Thai people and how they get down and what they're doing and all that stuff like that. And again, I thought you'd be a great person for this because you lived in Bangkok, so you would know.
Yeah. Well, I also think I've noticed there are a lot of new travelers and new expats who have not experienced a lot of travel and they are not as comfortable eating the local food. So for them, a place like that, they probably go every week because it's food they're familiar with, it's stuff they know. But if you've not traveled outside the country, you don't have a lot of experiences with different cuisines. Even in America, you can eat almost any cuisine on the earth in America. If they won't do it here, they're more than likely not going to do it there.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, because I remember years ago, my very first time in Bangkok, years ago, I had some chicken and I got sick that next day. And you know how whenever you get sick, you just attribute it to first something you ate. It could have been something I drank. It could have been a bug, but it could have been anything. But I just thought, oh, this chicken, it made me sick. And then from then on, I was like, anytime I come to Bangkok, I'm a vegetarian. So don't get me wrong, I've tried meat. But so I get what you're saying about the whole creature comfort. I'm comfortable with French toast. I'm comfortable with grits. So now Bangkok is a lot more tolerable now
Hmm.
because there's food that I'm used to. So I get that point. I get that aspect as well too. I just think obviously culture wise, that's not their culture. That's our culture. I don't even want to say our culture. That's just what we're used to growing up. Grits, oxtails, all that good stuff like that. So I thought that this would be a good one for us to talk and chop it up with, today about, like I said, culture, and again, I'm going to put it on a post a little later on and do like a whole little travel tip series around culture and all of that. But I just thought that this would be perfect because of the wordplay on culture. Name of
Yeah.
the restaurant is culture. And
Hmm.
then when you're traveling to experience culture. So
Yeah. I agree. We'll
yep,
see how
yep.
it goes.
All right, well, look, I know you got to get out of here. I got some stuff I got to wrap up too, and we will chop it up. But this has been a quick edition of the Layover Show featuring my girl, Smalls, aka Adrian Lewis, who is the owner operator of Adventures on a Dime. Make sure you check them out on all of the socials as well too. All right, I will chat with you guys later. Travel Junkie out.
Bye.